Transform your struggles into power, the one mindset shift that changes everything. Ladies and gentlemen, pain is not the enemy, it's the signal. It's life calling you to rise, to break patterns, to become more. The shift. Stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? That one change flips struggle into strategy and fear into fuel. Every breakdown hides a breakthrough, but only if you own it. You are not your past. You are the energy you choose right now. Decide. Stand up. Rewrite the story, because your greatest power is forged in your deepest challenge. Pain isn't the problem. The problem is how we interpret it, how we assign meaning to it, and the story we attach to it. Most people, when faced with adversity, default to one destructive question. Why me? That question chains you to your suffering. It makes you the victim. It pulls your energy inward, closes you off from opportunity, and reinforces the belief that life is happening to you, not for you. But what if, just what if you asked a different question? The moment you shift from why me to what now, you take your power back. You go from reacting to creating. That single question shift moves you from paralysis to progress. You stop focusing on the injustice and you start focusing on the action. You stop reliving the pain and you start rewriting the path. It's not about ignoring the pain. It's about using it. Every challenge carries a message, a lesson, a push, and that push is trying to take you somewhere new. Think about the most difficult moment in your life. Maybe it was heartbreak, loss, betrayal, failure, humiliation. Think about the question you asked yourself in that moment. Chances are it was filled with blame, resentment, confusion, self-doubt. That's natural. That's human. But staying there, living in those questions, only amplifies the suffering. The truth is, life is always giving you feedback. When something hurts, it's not punishment. It's data. It's the universe holding up a mirror asking, are you going to keep living this way? Or are you ready to grow? Growth never feels good. It's inconvenient. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't show up when you're rested and ready. It shows up in the middle of a mess. But when you ask what now, you acknowledge the mess and you take the reins. You stop spinning in circles around what went wrong, and you begin steering toward what can go right. That question activates the part of your brain that solves problems instead of reliving them. See, language is power. The questions we ask determine what we focus on, and what we focus on becomes our reality. You ask, why me? You'll find 1,000 reasons to justify your misery. You'll feed that story until it becomes your identity. But if you dare to ask what now, you're no longer seeking sympathy. You're seeking momentum. You're choosing to become the author of the next chapter instead of a victim stuck in the last one. This isn't about toxic positivity. This isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about facing the truth with courage and asking, what's the next best move? You're not ignoring the wound. You're deciding to walk forward with it. You're deciding to lead, to learn, to build, to change. And that decision is where your transformation begins. Because here's the truth. Life will never stop throwing curveballs. You will be knocked down. You will experience pain. But the difference between people who stay stuck and those who rise is not circumstance. It's strategy. It's mindset. It's the questions they ask themselves in the middle of the storm. They don't sit around waiting for things to get better. They become better. They step up. They show up. They ask, what now? And then they move. You want strength? Ask better questions. You want clarity? Ask better questions. You want results? Ask better questions. That one shift creates a ripple effect across every area of your life. Relationships, business, health, purpose, everything changes when you stop surrendering to your struggle and start directing your energy forward. You are not powerless. You never were. But as long as you're stuck in why me, you're giving your power away. You're handing over your future to your past. And the past has nothing new to say, but the present. It's alive. It's responsive. It's waiting on your decision, not your wish, not your hope, your decision. It's when you say, what now? You're not denying the pain. You're declaring your readiness to grow through it. That's where resilience is born. That's where leadership is forged. That's where destiny is rewritten. Not in comfort, not in certainty, but in that wild, unpredictable space between what happened and what comes next. And it all begins with one question. Pain is a signal. It's not your enemy. It's your wake-up call. It's your invitation to rise. Most people try to avoid pain, numb it, run from it, pretend it doesn't exist, but pain has a purpose. And until you learn how to own it, it will own you. Your greatest strength, your deepest clarity, your most unstoppable power is hidden right there in the middle of your discomfort. And if you've been through something hard, something dark, something that left a scar, that's not where your power ends. That's where it begins. Pain is the raw material for growth. It's not comfortable. It's not convenient, but it's honest. And that honesty strips away the lies, the excuses, the distractions, the illusions, and it forces you to face yourself. Not who you pretend to be, not who the world expects you to be, but who you really are. It's easy to look strong when things are going your way, but real strength shows up when everything falls apart and you choose to rebuild anyway. You don't wait to be rescued. You don't wait for someone else to fix it. You take ownership. You take the mess and turn it into meaning. That's the difference between people who live trapped in the past and those who transform it into fuel. Pain doesn't destroy you. Denial does. Blame does. Victimhood does. When you say, "This happened to me," you stay stuck. But when you say, "This happened for me," even if you don't fully believe it yet, even if your voice shakes while saying it, something inside you starts to shift. You reclaim your role as the creator, not the casualty. You shift from powerless to powerful. And that shift, that's where your life starts to move again. There's no magic pill, no shortcut. You want power? Own the story. Own the setback. Own the failure. Own the heartbreak. Own the betrayal. Not in shame. Not as proof that you're broken, but as evidence that you're still here. That you didn't quit. That you didn't let it define you. That you chose to take the pain and use it. Power isn't about control. It's not about being tough on the outside while crumbling inside. It's about being honest with what you feel and deciding what to do with it. Most people hand their power over to circumstance. They let their past dictate their future. They let pain become their prison. But pain isn't a prison unless you refuse to move through it. It's a passage. It's uncomfortable, yes. But inside that discomfort lives every lesson, every breakthrough, every transformation you've ever been waiting for. Pain strips you down to your core, so you can rebuild from truth, not ego, from courage, not fear. Every scar has a story, and the most powerful people you know, the ones who inspire you, who lead, who impact, they didn't avoid pain. They went through it. They faced it. They fell apart and got back up. They didn't wait until they felt ready. They acted anyway. And they didn't wait for permission. They gave it to themselves. You think power is reserved for the few. It's not. Power is available to anyone willing to stop hiding from their pain and start owning it. Owning your pain doesn't mean glorifying it. It means recognizing the wisdom inside it, the clarity, the strength, the urgency, because pain wakes you up. It shakes you out of autopilot. It reminds you of what matters. And it forces you to look at the gap between where you are and where you want to be. That gap, that tension, that's not something to avoid. That's your roadmap. That's the friction that forges new standards. When you stop running from it and lean in, you begin to unlock a version of yourself that doesn't just survive but leads. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to stop pretending you're powerless. That's the biggest lie people live under. That their pain makes them less. That their mistakes make them weak. But that's backwards. Your pain doesn't make you less. It makes you real. It connects you to your purpose. It gives you empathy, awareness, perspective. It teaches you what no textbook, no seminar, no motivational quote ever could. Stop waiting for someone else to validate your pain before you decide to do something with it. You already have permission to transform it, to own it, to stop letting it keep you in the same loop, repeating the same patterns, attracting the same problems. Every time you bury your pain, It grows stronger, but every time you own it, you grow stronger. This isn't about healing overnight. It's not about pretending you're okay when you're not. It's about being real enough to say, yes, this hurt me, but it won't define me. That's where your freedom begins. You don't rise in spite of your pain. You rise through it. You don't find your power by avoiding the fire. You find it by walking through it and realizing it didn't burn you down. It burned away everything you didn't need. Every version of you that was small, scared or silent, gone. And what's left is real, raw, powerful, capable of more than you've ever imagined. That's what owning your pain looks like. It's not a moment. It's a mindset. It's not a one-time thing. It's a daily decision. It's choosing again and again to show up fully, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because when you do, you become unshakable, not because life is easy, but because you know who you are, even in the storm, even when it hurts, even when it doesn't make sense yet. Power isn't something you earn. It's something you claim. It's already inside you, buried beneath the pain you've been taught to suppress. But the moment you stop running, the moment you stop waiting for someone to save you, the moment you stop asking for things to go back to the way they were, that's the moment it starts to rise. And the world doesn't need more people pretending they're fine. It needs people who are real, people who've been through the fire and came out stronger, people who've turned their wounds into wisdom and their pain into power. Your pain holds the blueprint for your evolution. Every moment you choose to face it, feel it, and rise through it, you reclaim your strength. Power doesn't come from perfection. It comes from presence, from owning every scar, every setback, every step forward. What once broke you now builds you. What once held you down now fuels your rise. And what once silenced you now becomes the fire behind your voice. This is where your transformation begins. This is where your real story starts.